both personal and business coverage.
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. Crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the K-Ref app to listen from anywhere.
Service to the max.
More than 600,000 Oklahomans have disabilities. We can't afford to leave great employees behind just because they do things differently.
Who we are and what we accomplish
Are much more important.
Hire an Oklahoman with a disability and gain dependability, commitment, and lower turnover. Reach out. Oklahoma Rehabilitation Services, okdrs.gov, 1-800-845-8476.
Hey y'all, I'm Blake Shelton. Being from Oklahoma, I know a thing or two about natural disasters. Tornadoes are common where I'm from and have affected my life and the lives of people I care about. No matter where you live, be aware of the dangers in your area and have a plan. You can create an emergency kit, come up with an evacuation plan, and know where to seek shelter. You never know when a disaster may hit. These simple steps can help save a life. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Teachers are dynamic leaders shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
Hey Sooners, I'm OU alum and Boyd Street Ventures founder James Spann. The Sooners season is underway, which means it's time for the Boyd Street Ventures Under the Radar Player of the Game. It's time for you to consider investing in BSV. Our portfolio has 16 innovative, under-the-radar, Oklahoma-connected companies. If you want in, the sooner the better, as our fund closes December 31st. Check out our portfolio at BoydStreetVentures.com. Boyd Street Ventures, under the radar, above the crowd.
This is Mark Van Hoos, owner of Van Hoos Fence. Van Hoos Fence has years of experience and proven superior performance, kind of like a certain head ball coach.
We know Van Hoos Fence offers the best value and service for your residential, commercial, or sports fencing needs. Whether it's a new install or repair work, let Mark and his team at Van Hoos Fence be your trusted resource.
Call us today at 405-735-1167.
Save yourself from Googling it up. Go to vhfence.com. They will work with you in a great way.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wing Studios, it's time to get locked in to the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
It was an absolutely insane environment in Lincoln, Nebraska on Saturday. Huskers scored in the first 5 minutes. They get a pick six in the first quarter. They were dominant in the first half and took a 28-0 lead over the Colorado Buffaloes in the halftime. It was such an great environment. It showed so much growth within the program. Apparently, four-star linebacker Christian Jones couldn't help himself. He said, "That's it. Best college football environment I've ever seen. I'm committing to the Huskers." That drop last night. Can't sit here today that we're all too surprised with the fact that Christian Jones has not only committed to Nebraska now, but very shortly after his second Nebraska trip already this season, he's sticking with the hometown team. He's sticking with the Huskers. No shock.
Felt inevitable after Saturday. Nebraska got good just in time, and as we've been saying for a while, the reality was Christian Jones was waiting for Nebraska to give him a reason to either commit there or a reason to kiss it goodbye and go play in Norman, Oklahoma. And unfortunately for the Sooners, they have looked less than impressive through 2 weeks of the 2024 season. And Nebraska has looked like a better Nebraska team than we have seen in over a decade, at least, Tyler. And look, I know it's UTEP and Colorado, so who knows whether they sustain it, but the early indications are certainly that football team is back to relevance.
Yeah, we'll see if they can actually make a bowl game or not. But, again, it was enough for OU target Christian Jones to pick the Huskers. I read something today. Was he supposed to be in Norman coming up? Did he have a visit on the books to Norman for the Tulane visit? Because one of the 24/7 Sports National guys says, well, he was supposed to visit Norman for the Tulane game. I was like, oh, okay, interesting.
That was never on my radar. So,
and it didn't really matter if he had it on the – I mean, It's what we've been talking about for a month. Like, if Nebraska had a really good start to the season and showed some real momentum, like Christian Jones, he gave Nebraska every single opportunity. You said, show me. That's exactly what Nebraska did, and that's exactly what he was waiting on. Like, just show me, because I think there's a lot of excitement right now. And are you a better program than Nebraska? Yeah, you're a better program than Nebraska. But I think everyone up there wants them to be back, or wants them to be relevant, I should say, so bad that that was going to be hard for Christian Jones to say no to Matt Rule and that staff with the excitement that they have.
Yeah, and again, as I said yesterday, I don't know what 17-year-old kid could have been in attendance in Lincoln on Saturday and not wanted to commit to Nebraska. That was everything that occurred throughout that game would have spoken volumes to any recruit in attendance. And if you've paid attention to a lot of the reporting from guys in that market and national recruiting analysts, boy, did it. There were a lot of visitors that night that had very high marks for Nebraska coming out of that experience.
How has OU fared head-to-head against Nebraska in recruiting the last few years? Now, granted, OU is kind of, that's on Nebraska's turf.
Yep.
Where OU is doing the majority, if not all, of those recruiting battles. But this is Christian Jones. This is Grant Bricks. Was there anyone else? Was Cade McIntyre, I guess, recently, as well as Nebraska really in that one?
I don't even really count the Scott Frost era, because Nebraska didn't win any recruiting battles against anyone for the majority of the Scott Frost era. I guess Nebraska beat OU for Turner Corcoran back in the day. But in the latter days of the Frost regime, that program was such an afterthought for so many of those kids that, a guy like Caden Helms, I think when he put out his top 10, Nebraska wasn't even a top 10 consideration for him. So the Huskers have gone from an afterthought to a lot of kids in that region to being a program that suddenly once again has a ton of allure to the kids that grew up watching the Scarlet and Cream on Saturdays and want to help restore that program to its former glory. I remember sitting down with Christian Jones' high school coach, actually. And this was before Christian Jones was in high school. This was like 2021, I think. And his high school coach told me, I have 2 players on Nebraska's staff and 2 players on Nebraska's roster, and 2 players that supposedly they're actively recruiting. And I haven't gotten a call from anybody involved in the football program in Lincoln in over a year. That's how little Scott Frost and his staff cared about trying to recruit the local radius. Matt Rule has done that, and he's done that pretty effectively. Yes, Nebraska won the battle with Oklahoma for Grant Bricks. Yes, they've now won the battle for Christian Jones. Those are probably the 2 highest profile OU Nebraska battles. Cade Petchak, I guess. He's up in North Dakota, so that's not really close to anywhere. But that was another one that looked like it was going Oklahoma's way. And then the 1890 Collective up in Lincoln gets involved, and boom, the kid's a Husker. So, yeah, Rule has had some success rooting against the Sooners. Or I should say recruiting against the Sooners.
Cody from the Northeast corner. I mean, they beat Colorado, not Alabama. Good Lord, people. You're right. They did beat Colorado,
Yeah.
not Alabama. However, the win over Colorado was their biggest win since win for Nebraska. I know they beat Iowa last game of the year a couple of years ago, but I mean that was as charged up as Memorial Stadium had been seemingly in a lot. That was a big win for Nebraska. They needed that bad.
And there's more belief, and you can tell there's more belief in and around that program than there has been in a long, long time. Dylan Raiola has had a massive impact on Nebraska football, a massive impact on that fan base, the juice that was in that building on Saturday night. There's more legitimate buzz there than there ever was during Frost's tenure, the Mike Riley era. I don't know whether they sustain it, and I don't know what relevance looks like in 2024 for Nebraska. Does it mean they finally break that bowl drought, or does it mean, as some national pundits have speculated, that maybe they're a sleeper college football playoff team? I'm not comfortable putting them in that conversation.
I'm not there yet.
But you get back to a bowl game, you give that fan base everything that they need to believe that things are turning a corner, and the fact that all of this is happening with a true freshman quarterback at the helm, too. And a true freshman quarterback that apparently models everything he does after Patrick Mahomes is it's an exciting prospect for that fan base and for that program.
731. When was the last time Owen Field was rocking like it was in Nebraska this past weekend? Well, I think it's going to rock like that, or at least I hope it does, coming up a week from Saturday when Tennessee's into. I mean, there's no excuse for that not to be an incredible atmosphere, other than you get down early to Tennessee and it's not a very competitive football game. But that atmosphere leading up to kickoff and during the game should be insane. But when was the last time we saw a great home field advantage for OU? Well, they haven't played in too many night games, too many big night games previously. I still say, though, even at quotations, 25% capacity, that 2020 Bedlam game at home, that was an extremely hostile environment. Ronnie Perkins essentially rolling the football towards the Oklahoma State sideline. Like that was a pretty crazy night. But it's been a while since I think Owen Field's been rocking like that. But you've got plenty of opportunities here from here on out. More than one opportunity a year now with the games that you have coming up to have some of those great environments, which is going to be a lot of fun. So Melendez or bust right now at linebacker?
Pretty much, man.
Yep.
And they've started to make some additional evals. They're putting out feelers on a few additional 2025 linebackers. But the guy that they really, really want is Elijah Melendez.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to beat Auburn for that one. So still no planned visit for Elijah Melendez, top 100 linebacker out of the state of Florida as of right now, or dude going to be in for the Tennessee game or something?
Yeah, they're trying. Boy, they're trying. If and when he sets a visit, trust me, you will be among the first to know. It certainly helps. You would think that Auburn got beat at home by Cal this last weekend. Cal. As in the University of California, Berkeley.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of them. I'm surprised they're still playing football after everything that's happened. What are they in the ACC now?
The California Golden Bears of the ACC. That's who beat Auburn last week.
21-14. What a highly entertaining football game I'm sure that was. I did not watch the Cal-Auburn game back, but it probably didn't help their chances with Elijah Melendez. Even though defensive, I mean, he's on the defensive side of the ball, it's still like Auburn, it looked like they were starting to have some momentum a little bit, certainly on the recruiting side. And that Cal loss that's a big setback for them.
I don't know how much that loss actively hurts their chances with Elijah Melendez, but you're right. It certainly does not help them at all.
So we'll do mostly recruiting this first segment, and then we'll get back to the offensive disaster that was on Saturday.
Do we have to keep talking about that?
At least until tomorrow, and then we can start to look ahead.
Fair
and
enough.
then we can talk about how big of a disaster the offense is going to be on Saturday. I guess that's how we change up the conversation. But what's the recruiting board look like now? You've got Babalola, who still hasn't committed anywhere, and Elijah Melendez, who we just talked about, and then there's the lingering question out there about what's going on with Cortez Mills and what's going to happen there. I guess let's start with Babalola. Is it the longer he doesn't commit to Michigan? I mean, clearly that's the better of the situation for OU.
The longer it lasts, the better off Oklahoma is. And I did not expect that we would still be sitting here on the 10th of September and that Andrew Babalola would still be uncommitted. And the fact that he is still uncommitted and still waiting, still in a holding pattern, again, I think that bodes well for Oklahoma based on the sourced conversations that I have had. I believe that as this thing drags out, Oklahoma's chances get stronger and stronger. So that's one I am monitoring very closely. Cortez Mills isn't going to be in the class, Tyler. It's just
matter of time before the edit drops. I'm sure Hayes Fawcett will put something out this week after careful consideration. Do you think that's how that one starts? After careful consideration, I feel like that's how most decommits it sound in the first sentence.
Oh yes,
after careful consideration and taking a visit to Lincoln, Nebraska, and telling the staff that I wasn't going to do so.
I would like to thank the staff at the University of Oklahoma for the opportunity to play there.
Do you think Emmett Jones should drop an edit before Cortez Mills does?
After careful consideration, we have decided to no longer honor Cortez Mills' spot in the class.
Overnight that chip back to us there, Cortez. We need it back now. We're going to go try and get another wide receiver in the 25 class. I don't know if they'll go get a fifth wide receiver again in the 2025 class, but if they think that is necessary, I don't doubt Emmett Jones' ability to go get another receiver in this class. I think that he'll be able to do that.
Boomer Brock brought the doom. OU isn't getting any of these dudes. Things are trending down for the team in Norman right now. Can't even out-recruit Nebraska.
I love that. 405, the fan base still isn't SEC ready. The last two games, I have sat in opposite corners of the stadium, lower bowl, and game one was told not to cuss, and game two told to stop yelling, LOL. Still too many olds and people who just want the Instagram picture there. So we got the two opposite spectrums. The olds who don't want you to yell or cuss, and just people who are there to take the Instagram photo and not pay attention to the game.
I hate both of those people equally. It's a football game. It's supposed to be fun. And also, quit trying to turn everything into a photo op. Please. Just enjoy life.
So what's in the middle there?
Live in the moment.
The guy that wears boots to the game and he's hiding a few airplane bottles of vodka or Fireball, sneaking alcohol in the state. Is that SEC ready?
Oh, that's absolutely
the
SEC
guy who
ready.
has 6-8 beers at the game and then sneaks in liquor?
I mean, if liquor is your thing, yes. That constitutes SEC readiness in that sense.
405, I've been to most SEC stadiums. OU will be in the top half. Chonky Chuck says, so how do we feel going into this week? Cautious optimism. Is the offense turning away Cortez Mills? How do we feel going into this week? I think incredibly nervous is how you feel going into this week. And a lot of unknown, right? I don't think that we heard anything today or last night at the coaches show that for sure that personnel changes are going to happen. So how does the offense look different? Do they switch up some things in the run game? Do they switch up things personnel-wise? It's a giant guess to me as to if the offense looks different and how different the offense actually looks going into this game. So I'm sitting here on a Tuesday of game week. Yeah, man, pretty nervous about OU's chances because Tulane's rolling in here thinking that they can absolutely win the football game. And one thing that really concerns me about this game is a strength of Tulane is a real weakness for this OU team, and it's been a weakness now for about 3 consecutive years. Time of possession. Tulane is a time of possession football team.
Oh, boy.
They won it against Kansas State last week. It is not sustainable for your defense to be out on the field 40 minutes a game and you're trying to win every single week. That ain't sustainable. So they're going to have to figure out how to get that evened up somehow and not go with as many or not have as many 3-and-outs.
You're going to have to eat some clock offensively because you cannot expect your defense to be on the field as much as they were last week and hold Tulane to 12 points the way that you held Houston to 12 points. Tulane is a better football team than Houston.
Well, Mario Williams having a nice year for them thus far. He's their leading receiver.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's cute.
I'm sure you're very happy for him. Very happy.
Love it.
405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. A lot of text to get to. We'll do that. And, yes, look at this upcoming game. Look at what happened on Saturday once again. We'll do it all next right here on The Ref. We're the home of Sooner fans.
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey, Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the KREF app to listen from anywhere.
Hey Jeff, have I told you about the nightmare Jessica had at that big city dealership?
Oh boy, I can only imagine.
It was like something out of a bad movie.
Really? What happened?
Well, she found this amazing deal on a Blazer online at one of those dealerships.
Oh yeah, flashy with all the promises.
Exactly. She was so excited, but when she got there, they hit her with the old bait and switch.
I've been hearing that a bunch lately.
They told her the car she wanted wasn't there, but guess what? It was. They just wanted to sell it for more than the online price. Then they tried to push a completely different vehicle.
Well, tell her to just come out here and see us at Knippelmeyer.
That's what I told her. She said she would, and she wouldn't go anywhere else from now on.
At Knippelmeyer, we don't play games. Our prices are up front, no gimmicks, just good honest deals like we've done for over 60 years. So don't make the same mistake Jessica did. For your next vehicle, come see us in Blanchard, give us a call at 405-485-3333, or check us out on the web at knippelmeyer.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Tired of your current living situation? Now is the best time to make a move. Interest rates are dropping, and Home Creations is offering the best financing around with rates as low as 3.75%. This will save you hundreds per month on your brand new Home Creations home. Live like a champion today by calling Holly at 405-364-9999 for full details.
364-9999 means Home Creations.
APR 6.411%.
Dreaming of an escape? What about a relaxing escape just a few steps away to your very own backyard paradise? Signature Custom Pools can turn your dreams into reality. Signature Custom Pools creates distinctive designs to fit your perfect getaway. Quality, professional, reliable. The Signature Custom Pool experience. Call at 405-898-9098. That's 405-898-9098 for your free design consultation and turn your backyard into your personal paradise.
In the age of internet and all things fast-moving, it's hard to find people you can trust. When it comes to your home or business electrical systems, don't settle for anything but the best. Wade Electric has been serving Oklahoma since 1969 and will gladly address your electrical needs with diligence and professionalism. They specialize in service upgrades, exterior and accent lighting, power automation and controls, shop and outbuilding wiring, LED conversions, and more. Go with a name you can trust and call Wade Electric today at 405-329-1940.
Did you know that about 23% of Oklahoma's river and stream miles are impaired by bacteria? Pet waste can pollute surface and drinking waters like Lake Thunderbird by contributing harmful levels of bacteria. Be sure to pick up after your furry friend when you're out and about. We drink our stormwater, so please do your part to help protect it. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
At Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and safe. And that means safe at home, at school, and online.
Hope means walking this path together, all of us. Because when we work together, we can do so much more.
That's right. Hope includes you.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
Learn more at childfund.org.
Locked in with McComas and Thune, live on the Ref for the home of Sooner fans. OU wants to remind you that Saturday is the annual Stripe the Stadium game, where each section alternates between wearing crimson and wearing white. They are flipping the color for each section from previous years. So if you're in an even-numbered section, wear whites. If you're in an odd-numbered section on Saturday, wear crimson. The annual Stripe the Stadium game in Norman. Like it, dislike it, don't care. What do you think about the Stripe the Stadium game?
I mean, to be honest, I don't care much. The theme of the stadium doesn't matter a whole lot to me. It's a cool, I mean, it'll be a cool look. It always is.
Yeah.
But, you know. It's fun for the fans.
We'll see it at 2:30 there on Saturday. I said we don't know for sure how much personnel is going to change. Well, we do know one thing that's going to change. Garen Hatchett won't play because he's out for the season. And boy, I mean that's a big bummer. I don't think that he was your best offensive lineman, but at this point you just need as many bodies available as possible. And now that you have someone out for the entire year, it's less than ideal. And just think the mood last night was just like, man, that's golly, when are the hits going to stop coming?
Yeah, well, and what Garen Hatchett would have provided to this team, and the reason it hurts so much to lose him is that there are precious few capable guards on this roster, experienced guards. You heard Brent Venables mention earlier today that they're trying to get Eddie Pierre-Louis up to speed to be able to get more involved in what they're doing offensively. Does that mean seeing rotational, sporadic snaps like an Eric Swenson in years past? Does that mean inserting him into the starting lineup? I don't know, but what I know is when Jake Sexton is having to play left guard instead of left tackle, that does not speak to an ideal situation as it pertains to the guys on your roster that are capable of playing guard. Because Jake Sexton is your best tackle by a long shot.
You know, I had this random thought today right before the show about the offense. So if we were to evaluate who the best players are on that side right now, Burks is obvious. I think Burks is number one, so he's obviously in the discussion.
Yeah.
Jake Roberts has had a really nice start to the season. I don't know if you want to put him in the top 5 or not, but he's somewhere in there. Bauer Sharp, would he be in the best 3 to 5 players offensively? Michael Tarquin, Fabechi Wiwu. Really the main point is that are your best players on offense transfer portal players at this point? when you look at that side of the football?
Best healthy players, I assume, is the stipulation.
Sure.
There. Quite a few of them are.
Draw whatever conclusion you want from that, but I was just like, oh, wow, it's Burks, Roberts, Sharp, Tarquin, Wiwu. I'm not saying all those guys are perfect, but they may be the best that you have on that side, and those are all transfer portal players from this past year.
Yeah, but again, that speaks to the attrition this program is dealing with. Nick Anderson would certainly be on that list if he wasn't hurt. You can make the argument that Jalil Farouk would be on that list if he wasn't hurt. There are many that would make the argument Jaden Gibson would even be on that list.
I think,
if he wasn't hurt. And the same can be said for Andrell Anthony, right? Like, gosh, they're so beleaguered right now. Branson Hickman, throw him in the same conversation.
Did you like the question at the press conference today?
Barry Tramble's question?
How would you sum up that question for those that didn't hear it? Like, are you surprised you haven't been that any good on offense throughout the first 2 games?
Yeah, it was basically along the lines of, Brent, how shocked are you that your offense kind of sucks?
It's true. And he was like, I don't really know how to answer that. We're really beat up, essentially. There's a lot of guys right now that just aren't available offensively. And they've got to get back, and they've got to get back in a hurry because it's not a good situation. Man.
The Waffler says, man, it sounded like Brent had high hopes for EPL, but it sounded like he did not even want to talk about Brooks, which is unfortunate because I had high hopes for him. What do you mean you had high hopes? It's okay to still have high hopes for B.J. Brooks and also understand that freshman offensive linemen seeing the field in year 1, let alone starting, is not the norm at all.
Did he say today it's the most difficult position?
He did, and that's true when you look at the history, especially at Oklahoma, of true freshmen that have played substantial snaps on the offensive line and have started on the offensive line. There is, to this day, exactly one true freshman that has ever started an opener for Bill Bedenbaugh. It was Drew Samia. That's it, Tyler. That's it. And there are guys that have worked their way into starting roles later on in their freshman season. Anton Harrison and Caden Green certainly come readily to mind, but it is very, very hard for freshman offensive linemen in general to make an impact. And so it's okay to operate under the assumption, I think this should have been the assumption, that B.J. Brooks and Josh Isosa and Isaiah Autry-Dent were all going to redshirt, and that the one guy, Daniel Akinkumi as well for that matter, and that the one guy who had the physical upside to maybe play in year one would be EPL. And I think it's encouraging to hear that that's at least a conversation that's being had right now within the walls of the Switzer Center.
Look, like we've said since Saturday night, it's not just one issue, it's all of the issues with the offense. But here's more than anything in my mind, they've got to figure out a way to run the ball consistently. I know that's much more difficult than just saying, hey, they need to figure out a way to run the football. Well, no kidding. But whatever that looks like, to be consistently able to run the football, I'm not asking them to run for 250 yards a game against Tennessee, but what I'm asking them, Parker, is to at least have some sort of a run game where they're not having a bunch of 3-and-outs that take about 35 seconds off the clock. Because if you can't run the football this year and you can't have some sort of a running game this year, well, how can we realistically expect Jackson Arnold to thrive in this offense this year with some receivers that you can't trust as of right now necessarily and an offensive line? I mean, it's the run game controls everything. Without a run game this year and any sort of a consistent run game, it puts Jackson Arnold in a terrible spot, and it puts the defense in a terrible spot as well, because that time of possession isn't going to change all that much if that's the case.
Yeah, and again, this is not to make excuses for Jackson Arnold because he needs to play better, but the circumstances that he's dealing with right now are not exactly circumstances that lend themselves to confident play from your quarterback. And so what's going on around him certainly does not make his responsibility and the burden on his shoulders any easier. Couple texts here. A 615 listener asks, is Akinkunmi better than Spencer Brown? It is impossible to know right now because Daniel Akinkunmi was hurt all spring and he's been hurt all fall. Brent Venables said earlier today that he just got back healthy from a foot injury. So he might be better than Spencer Brown. I don't know. No one could know that right now. Eric, the Mets fan, said, and this may be true, Caden Green has been the biggest loss in the BV era. Next to Caleb Williams, and I know you never really stood a chance at keeping Caleb Williams. But Caleb Williams aside, has there been a loss more significant than the loss of Caden Green?
Well, it just really it pressed the panic button on the offensive line for the first. I don't know the panic button, but it really brought to light that was your biggest concern going into the season. And look, you need 5 offensive linemen, right? And he's just one guy. But he would come back with at least some experience, and he would have been essentially your anchor on an offensive line that just needs some continuity right now and needs someone who's played a good amount of football.
And now,
it was a big loss.
If he's on this roster, he is playing left guard. He is starting left guard. Jacob Sexton never has to move from left tackle. Michael Tarquin is probably playing right tackle in the absence of Jake Taylor. You have Fabechi, Weewu at right guard, and you're still kind of figuring things out at center. But having a dude of Green's caliber on that offensive line right about now, especially at that left guard spot, that would be huge.
918, how about Heath Ozida? I thought he was pushing for PT during the preseason. Yeah, no, I mean, he was, and Heath Ozida can – look, there's not like Daniel Akinkunmi, probably not, because he's just trying to get back in football shape, like Brent said today. So there are some offensive linemen where I would say, yeah, I mean, I still don't think that's a likely situation where they play a big role. But the majority of the offensive linemen, including younger guys like a Heath Ozida, heck, like an Eddie Pierre-Louis, there are a lot of guys right now that you didn't factor 2 months ago would be a big part of things that now we have to have realistic conversations about. Eddie Pierre-Louis won. Ozida's definitely won. I mean, we'll see where they're at, but yeah, man.
I think 2 of those members of that 2023 offensive line class that are still around. You had 4 in that class. Caden Green was the highest ranked of them. He has since moved on, obviously. But the 3 remaining members of that 2023 offensive line class, I'd put 2 of them kind of in the same category right now. I think Logan Howland and Heath Ozida are ideally a year away in that if they have to play this year, they'll be all right. And Howland did play on Saturday night and looked pretty solid. But ideally, 2025 is when you let those guys off the leash. Josh Bates doesn't really have the option of being a year away because they need him right now, at least until Branson Hickman gets right.
Let's see what's going on in the YouTube chat here. 1984 OU1, I have faith in BV and company. Maybe a down year, but we'll see. In BV, I trust. Tommy Gallegos says BJ Brooks, ? This one, Big Bog 80, my prediction, EPL will start at some point this year. Well, hopefully things get a lot better before they get even worse, but I wouldn't put it at 0% that EPL starts a game this year. I wouldn't put it at 0% at all.
I don't think you want that if you're an Oklahoma fan.
I don't think you do either, but there's a lot of things that are on the table that I didn't think would be at this point.
And obviously it worked out last year, but I don't think anybody wanted to see Caden Green getting thrown into the fire in the Cotton Bowl against Texas. That did not arise under ideal circumstances.
Yeah, well, it's not ideal circumstances at all right now for this offense, unfortunately. Chonky Chuck, I hate seeing Arnold be frustrated. We've seen the talent from him, and we know what he's capable of, but it's clearly frustrating him when he can't do anything and has to rush plays. I feel for him. He's just, again, he's got to cut it loose. You know, I know it's not an ideal situation, but he's got to be better as well. And I know it's hard to find confidence. I know it's hard to find your footing a little bit when there's not much of a run game that's going on, and you got wide receiver dropping balls that they should catch, but he's got to turn it loose and find the confidence, man, and show off that arm strength. And hopefully they put him in more situations to stretch the field this week, and hopefully the wide receivers will hold up their end of the bargain on that. But they're going to have to work to get out of this ruts, right? Because there's no immediate answers to me at this point. The answer is going to have to be that Jackson Arnold really steps up even in a tough situation. They've got to find a run game more than anything else, yes. But Jackson Arnold is going to have to find a way to elevate his play here moving forward. I know that's not easy to do, especially with the competition coming up, but he's going to have to be a dude here and start to make some incredible individual plays.
A Tuesday manifesto from K-Dub on the text line. The environment won't be any better next Saturday, bro. Off the field, game day atmosphere is bad and boring as usual. Fans have voiced displeasure with things like kicking for chicken and the MC. They're still here, which signifies they could care less what we think. Meanwhile, my season tickets went up $500, with them now wanting us to fund their NIL program. Seriously? They mess up intro videos. They mess up the Oklahoma flag. And now all of the incredible songs Toby Keith, a lifelong Sooner, made. I guess we're going to use his anthem that should be reserved for the brave American men and women who serve our great military as a third-quarter hype song. Literally unreal how tone-deaf that athletic department is. If there is a major university worse with fan engagement,
dang,
I'd have to see it.
Man.
Unfair to complain to you all about this, but trying to speak to someone in the athletic department is next to impossible.
First down, Sooners! Boomer! Come on, K-Dub. That didn't get you fired up after a 2-yard gain to get a first down and not a 3-and-out, huh? Moving the chains for the first time in 8 minutes?
The unfortunate reality is that I agree with a lot of what K-Dub wrote.
They did mess up the Oklahoma flag before the game on Saturday. That should have been our indication that things were not going to go well on Saturday night. Oh, boy. Yeah. So you agree with all that? You're not a big kicking for chicken guy? You turning on me now all of a sudden?
I am not a kicking for chicken fanatic, no.
Well, it's at least fun to make fun of on here, or at least cite all the time.
Oh, it is that. No question about it.
Rob Dog from Dale, has the tailgating improved at all? I've had a good time tailgating before the games this year, but I haven't been around Lindsay Street or anything. Tailgating, it feels like it's improved a little bit, but it's not like I've been walking all around the stadium to see what's been going on the south side of the stadium or anything. Cherokee Sooner K-Dub is not wrong. 405, agree. Don't like the song choice. Michael and Marlowe, K-Dub is 100% right. Look at that. The Tuesday manifesto is hitting with the fan base right now.
All right, bring it back next week, K-Dub.
K-Dub needs to be the in-stadium guy from now on.
Sad basketball fan Josh says, please eliminate the hype guy. It's so horrendously bad.
Well, it's just – it's over the top in a lot of times when people just don't want to have that going on. You know, like everyone's pissed about how
when
the
they're
game's
reviewing
going on.
the safety.
Yeah, I mean we're just
in the fourth quarter of a 2-point game.
Everyone's mad, and it's just not. Yeah, just kind of a read the room situation at times. Was there a reason for no flyover? Says LC in Newcastle. I don't know that. 214 J-Dub speaks my language. I hate the boomer first down. K-Dub's 100% spot on, dude. Dang, this is like the most positive reaction to a text that I've seen in several months.
Like, oh, man. We've gotten more texts about this than anything throughout the show. They're pouring. The hype guy sucks. Make him go away. Oof. Another 405 listener says, fellas, the in-game experience has been pretty lackluster, especially this year. The MC guy means well, but it's like he doesn't know timing and is emceeing for a middle school dance.
Right, yeah. All right, 405-651-3439. Everything sucks right now.
Everything sucks.
When you beat Houston by 4 points, man. Ugh. Please let it be better. Let it be better on Saturday. All of it. In-game entertainment, offense, all of it needs to be. Tennessee's coming to town here very quickly. Final segment of Locked In with McComas and Thune coming up next.
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. Crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey, Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the KREF app to listen from anywhere.
This is Peggy Doviak, and I opened DM Wealth Management because of a horrible experience that my mother had with a stockbroker. I wanted to give people an alternative, a place they could go to understand their money, to know why investment decisions were made the way they were, and to create a financial plan that would help them meet their goals. Most of all, I wanted to help them plan their prosperity. Call me at 405-329-8884 or dmwealth.com.
Hey drivers, it's Ryan Blaney, your 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion and driver of the number 12 Discount Tire Ford Mustang. Do you know one of the most important things that helps keep my car going on the track? Tire pressure. Keeping your tires properly inflated is crucial for safe stopping power and better gas mileage. Check your tire pressure at least once a month or stop by a local tire retailer for an air check.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
Mama, what does the chicken say? Dog. Cat. Giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Dorsey Jones, Buick GMC in El Reno, bringing this hour of Locked In with McComas and Thune. Dorsey Jones is family-owned and operated, established in 2020, but many of their employees have been there for more than 20 years. They pride themselves on having the best service technicians and friendly service advisors that put your needs first. They also have half-price oil changes on Saturday. Go check them out in El Reno, Dorsey Jones Buick GMC. It has been brought to my attention that we have an invite on the table. I guess not just a Mizzou tailgate, but the Mizzou tailgate is wanting us to have our pre- and post-game shows at their tailgates when OU travels to Columbia. I guess this is like a tailgate where even the coaches show up after the game.
Really?
The University of President shows up at some point. Apparently, this is like the Mizzou tailgates. And
they only have one tailgate, huh?
They want us to have, do the shows there. Do you think this is a trap? Think this is a trick?
You know what I think? I think they think they're going to win the football game, and then they'll be able to take victory laps after the game gets over.
Yeah, then OU ends up winning the game 9-3, and Drink comes out there in his Crocs, and I get to make fun of him in the tailgate there after the game, huh? I like the sound of that. Yeah, we'll see if that one pans out or not. 2025 recruiting rankings, 7 of the top 8 teams, according to Rivals, are SEC teams. So Ohio State's got the number 1 class. Alabama's at 2. LSU is at 3. Texas now at 4. Auburn at 5. Georgia at 6. Tennessee at 7. Oklahoma is at 8. But we got to think Cortez Mills decommitting soon will impact OU with that number 8 ranking. Percentage chance that we are talking about a top 8 class on signing day. They're number 8 class right now. They're about to lose a top 100 player. Will they add someone else? That's kind of up in the air right now. Might be tough.
I'll say it's an even 50-50. Flip the coin. Andrew Babalola would certainly offset the loss of Cortez Mills. But beyond that, what else is there on the table besides the potential of landing Elijah Melendez, and if not Melendez, going and grabbing another linebacker, probably a late stock riser, and I would imagine somebody from the reasonably local radius.
Sure.
The ceiling for this program is not much higher than where they're at currently. It might be a couple ticks higher than where they're at currently. It is not substantially higher than where they're at currently.
405, Parker's been saying for years that Bowman and Bowen are very good punt returners, and you've seen in person or on film lots of plays. Were you surprised by the way they fielded the punts? I was shocked.
Yes, as was I.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that. Like, that was just kind of – I guess if there was one thing that illustrated how bizarre of a day it was for Oklahoma on Saturday, it's the two guys that you'd feel you can trust the most to go back there and be effective punt returners, both muffing one at one point. Fortunately, Bowman jumped back on his muff, and Billy Bowman jumped back on his muff. But and Bowen, I guess, did have a nice return at one point. He did have a return where he broke a couple tackles, got a few yards upfield. That was nice. But all in all, it was a pretty horrific day in the punt return department.
And that, I think it goes without saying. I think we all realize it, that, like, what's the true ceiling of this offense? I don't know. I just like them to be just an okay offense at some point that can score here and there and, is not on the field for only 20 minutes a game. But I don't think that at any point this year we're going to be saying that this OU offense is elite, one of the best in the SEC, or even a really good offense. They're going to have to win ugly, and I think they're going to have to win with defense. But they're not going to be able to win that way if they have poor special teams. And we always knew that Tyler Keltner, or whoever the kicker was going to be crucial this year. Did the importance of that, is that even a bigger thing now with what your offense looks like? I mean, when you get opportunities in SEC play, you can't come away empty-handed.
No, you cannot.
Special teams overall, it's got to be better, man. Like, you're going to have to start making plays on that side. Elzinga's a very good punter. I think that's a big deal, actually, for this team right now. Maybe a very underrated thing about this squad. But you can't have one of the worst kickers in the SEC. I'm not saying that he is there right now. You can't have your returners back there muffing punts. Like, that was a setback special teams-wise in week 2. They've got to get back and resemble the special teams group they looked like in week 1.
Got to. You got to be sharp in that department to win SEC football games. Every little thing matters. This is a genuine question here, Tyler. Why do people keep asking about Jaden Nickens on the text line? It seems to be a very popular question. Oh, Cortez Mills is decommitting. What about Jaden Nickens?
He's not even in high school in the state of Oklahoma anymore. I don't think most people realize that, or not everyone realizes that.
Did I miss something? Was there someone that said something about the potential of OU and Jaden Nickens rekindling? Because that's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I think it's just the other wide receiver name that maybe some know and some are familiar with is, maybe you parted ways with him because he wanted to play football and basketball. Now, if you need another receiver in this class, do you just go back to the guy that you had committed at some point? And I don't think that was ever going to be the case. Once they parted their ways, they're parting their ways. Like that's not going to happen.
A listener asks, where is Devon Mitchell? Well, he's 5th on the depth chart at tight end right now. That's the reality of it. He's a true freshman.
And they've been okay at tight end.
And they've been just fine at tight end.
Yeah.
Bauer Sharp and Jake Roberts have been solid. Cade McIntyre has seen the field quite a bit. Caden Helms is getting back up to speed. Oklahoma's fine at tight end right now. They're pretty solid. We had another manifesto sent to us from Roger in Warsaw.
Roger called us on the postgame show on Saturday. He was the first call of the night. It was good to finally hear from Roger.
Where did his text
go?
Scroll
down. It's
Roger in L.A. is what he's listed as. Here you go. Gotta hand it to Jerry Schmidt. His offseason program has gifted OU 3 injured receivers, 4 injured offensive linemen, and weak running backs that break absolutely no tackles. Everybody talks smack about Benny Wiley when Riley was at OU. We always had monster O-line play, and I never remember caches of injuries like this under Riley. That's a little bit of revisionist history there. But 1, Arnold needs to get right this week or be benched. Don't give a crap about wrecking his confidence. This is not high school. 2, Beatonbow needs to figure it out this week and not after we have 3 losses after Texas. Don't give a crap what the combo alignment is or who's playing center. He just needs to make it mesh or we will lose 7 to 8 games this season.
Dang.
3, if Venables cannot right the ship offensively, this season will be terrible. And he then goes on a red-hot seat for next season. For all the goodwill he has created via recruiting and building a good defense, it means nothing if he fails to win football games. Worst OU offense since 1998, the last year of the John Blake era.
I do agree with point number 3 there for sure. He's done a lot of great things in recruiting, but ultimately it comes down you winning football games or not, especially in this league. And if they throw out a 5-7 or a 4-8, then all of that's out the window. And we're talking about a coach who's on one of the hottest seats in the SEC going into year number 2 in the league. Got a lot of manifestos today, huh?
I know. That's at least 3 manifestos that I've read.
I guess that's what you get when there's not just one issue with the offense, when it is everything. If it was just one issue with the offense, then we're getting a lot of text still, but kind of more that are just to the point, 2 and 3 sentences. But when everything's wrong, you get a manifesto.
Regarding the in-stadium experience, Cody Mayo says, hey, there are several of us who work at the highest level of the entertainment industry from L.A. and New York and back in Oklahoma. OU Athletics, our phone is on. Read the room and the vibes.
Do you think we should do like a listener contest to come up with the best intro video? Could you imagine Gunny making an intro video? The team comes out in smoke, created by Gunny.
Oh, man. Would that maybe have an effect on the opposition? Or if they come out in the smoke, you think it would have an effect on OU? Where they're all just comatose by the second quarter?
I don't want Jackson Arnold to run through the Gunny smoke. I need him to be a little bit more aggressive, not be as laid back. Or you know what I mean? I want him to be more aggressive there. I don't want him to chill out, man, after he runs through the Gunny smoke.
A 918 listener says, I attended this university during the worst 4-year stretch in program history, 95 to 99. These fans are as soft as I've ever seen. Give them a binky already.
I feel like today there's more anger than there was yesterday. Not that yesterday was necessarily
panic.
Roses.
Yes. Yesterday was panic. Today is anger.
Today is like real legitimate anger, and that's not – is that going to change if they look good offensively against Tulane? Or do they have to beat Tennessee and look good offensively for this anger to subside from the fan base?
That's a good question. Like, if OU drops a 50-burger on Tulane, you think people are going to be okay with that? They're going to be like, okay, what happened against Tulane was clearly a fluke. We're moving on. We're content. Everything is as it should be. Or is everybody going to be saying, well, that's great, but Tulane is Tulane. We're still going to get smoked next week against Tennessee.
That's probably it, yeah. You know, we have been begging. We've been begging for a big home game and a primetime time slot for a long time. Remember, we just wanted to play Nebraska at night. That's why we're in the situation we currently are. 6:30 on ABC, that was announced yesterday, and it was, oh, great. Now we get to get embarrassed in front of the entire country. Awesome. Primetime, awesome. Tennessee gets to run it up on us, and everyone's going to be watching. Yeah, the vibes are very positive around here right now.
Manifesto from Frozen Sooner.
Jeez,
hey,
guys.
OU fans, shut the hell up.
That made my day. That's very good. Very good. I mean, and we're to the point now where nothing's going right, so we're asking about just random players. Where's Devon Mitchell? Where's Phil Picciotti? Like, well, guys, the linebackers have been pretty
on
solid.
Freaking crutches right now. OU Optimist said 50-burger on Tulane, 6 defensive touchdowns.
It's probably more likely than the other side, right? The Waffler says the only way the in-game experience inside the stadium is going to improve is when they require the olds to sit in the nosebleeds.
They wouldn't be able to see the game.
It's been a bad show for the olds today. People have been complaining about them. Bad show for the olds and the people who are only there to take photos and put them on Instagram. We are attacking everything in sight right now. Everything in sight right now on a college football Saturday.
Somebody in the 580 said, this offense is full of a bunch of soft liberal city boys.
What's the running back rotation this week?
Right on cue, somebody asked, where's Andy Bass?
Saw that. I got to think Barnes is RB1 after last week, right?
Yeah, you would think so. But give me Taylor Tatum, man. I want to see more of Taylor Tatum. He doesn't have to start. He doesn't have to get the most carries. Let me see more than 1 carry. No, heck, let me see more than 5 carries, which is what he had.
Get him in a rhythm. Yeah, I mean, I know it's hard to get a rhythm right now when you can't block anyone up front. I understand that, but at least use this game, and I think it's going to be a close game, but use this week as an opportunity to really see what you have with Taylor Tatum, right? Because this is the best defense that you'll have faced up to this point. So, I mean, you're looking for positives right now. Maybe your number 1 running back can be a positive for you moving forward. I'm going to try to find one text before we get out of here, and I believe it was from Santa John. Here it is. You ready for this?
Okay.
Talk about things you did not expect to hear. How long do we have to wait until the first basketball game? That's a real text that came in today. How long do we have to wait until the first basketball game? Oh, my gosh. Santa John.
Is that really where we're at?
Is that really where we're at after 2 games? Well, at least it's almost basketball season. Think you can hear someone in the stands say that on Saturday? It is allowed to get better, but it's got to get better, and it's got to get better in a hurry. OU's a 13.5-point favorite over Tulane heading into Saturday. The Rush is coming up next. Keep it locked in the Ref.
Sooner fans, show your Sooner pride. Crafted for SEC competition. Every OU fan should own a piece of Sooner magic. Made in America, like it should be. Get your official on-field OU football today.
Hey, Sooner Nation, join me Mondays at 7:45 a.m. and Thursdays at 4:45 p.m. exclusively on the Ref. Download the KREF app to listen from anywhere.